Well, they say it's him. That's what Diario is saying. It would be Rodri, one of the stars that Enrique Riquelme claims to have signed. Let's talk about what was presented today. I'm going to give my opinion on some things that I understand are smart moves for the campaign. Since only members vote here, we must remember that. And some Madrid fans aren't members. You might say no, but this is interesting for everyone. Still, in the end, it's the members who vote. For better or worse, and it has already started with that social aspect, but the sporting side, which hasn't been revealed yet, they're already saying things like this. For example, before we start, I do want to apologize because I wanted to bring this up earlier, but well, I'll tell you why later. But I'm really, really, really busy with another matter, something very exciting, honestly, that has to do with the World Cup. And well, soon I'll be able to tell you something about it. I was working on that. But anyway, let's get to it. Now, this afternoon, Florentino Perez, starting at 7, will make a video after Florentino's presentation, of course, to share here everything the candidates say. So far, Enrique Riquelme has spoken the most, which is why there are more videos of him. Some may say you only discuss the game, but if Florentino doesn't speak, there's nothing to say about him. Maybe it's not necessary, but still, watch out. Florentino could have an advantage. With the project that Enrique Riquelme and Florentino presented today, maybe he could bring it down. I think things may go that way, but let's see what Florentino says later. For now, let's discuss Enrique Riquelme. All right, let's begin. Well, that's some information, and now let's move on to the social part. More statements today from Vinicius and Valverde, interesting ones. We also shouldn't lose sight of our own. Some are on a week of mini vacation before joining the national teams. Others are already on full vacation, like Hausen, for example. What's up with him? Today, he had to make a post saying that he wishes his teammates in the Spanish national team the best of luck and that he'll be cheering them on like any other Spaniard. They're the usual messages he likely doesn't want to post, but someone suggested it like, hey, do you want to return to the Spanish national team? Post something like that, because if it's hard now, imagine how it'll be later, and so on. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this because it could be anyone, but I really think it's Rodri. It could be Nico Williams. It could be Fabian. Like I said in the last video after the interview with Enrique Riquelme on El Partidazo de Cope. But this is what OK Diario reports. Rodrigo Hernandez is Riquelme's star signing for the midfield. The talks between Enrique Riquelme's camp and Rodrigo Hernandez's representatives are fully advanced. The agreement is complete. If the businessman from Alicante becomes president of Real Madrid, Rodri will wear white, and this has several implications. The first is maybe Florentino didn't decisively go after him because Mourinho doesn't want him either, and candidate Riquelme may have found that loophole to get in. It's very likely because Mourinho is thinking about another midfielder. Because it was already talked about at the time, and Ramon mentioned it, and a long time ago, quite a few months ago, that Madrid, when we couldn't even imagine there would be elections or anything like that, was going after Rodri, or at least they were monitoring him, right? Well, I think that maybe something might have broken with Florentino and Riquelme has come in to find that way. Anyway, it wouldn't be the first time. If a candidate says he has a player and so on, and then the other one wins, well, let him hand over that negotiation. So it wouldn't be ruled out for Rodri to come to Real Madrid. Look, I know a lot of you are worried about Rodri coming and all that. I know. I've read a million comments already, I know. But I mean, I'm going to run into them later anyway, but it doesn't matter. The thing is, I think that for Mourinho here, the worst thing about Rodri isn't really his age, because he's 29, about to turn 30, and in theory, that's a great time for a footballer. Hey, if he takes care of himself, I think he can play at the highest level for 3 or 4 more years. What happens is that with a serious injury, it can make you age faster, right? And there are doubts about how Rodri has performed at Manchester City lately. I think he has performed better than expected, because remember that when he came back at the start of this past season, which just ended, he would come back, but then get injured, come back again, get injured again, a bit like what happened to Carvajal. And there were doubts, and there always are. But I think he finished the season relatively well. Well, that's one thing. And of course, if we talk about Rodrigo, well, it's great to talk about Vinicius, right? Because look, with Vinicius, if Mourinho comes and Rodri or one or the other, there will be things held against Vinicius, I think, because of certain episodes already known. But anyway, the thing is, I've always told you about Vinicius, even though he's dragging things out too much, making the whole renewal issue too complicated. And now let's listen. Let's read what he says about wanting to stay at Real Madrid, which means, well, guys, just renew already, for goodness sake. But anyway, aside from that incident with Xabi Alonso, aside from other things, how he gets pissed off, how he gets heated like crazy when things happen to him during matches. Despite everything, I've always said Vinicius seems like a good guy with a good heart. And I could say bad things about Mbappe because there's been talk about the distance between them. People they talk about things related to professional jealousy, about how this one earns more. I want to earn the same as him. Mbappe says, no, I speak here, unlike others where you have to guess what they're saying. It could be a message for him or Bellingham. There's a lot of talk about the very good friendship between Vinicius and Bellingham, not so much between Mbappe and Bellingham. And Vinicius, in an interview with CAS KCTV, which, by the way, is a YouTube channel that's going to broadcast the Spanish League in Brazil. This is changing. It's changing the market quite a bit. Well, he gives an interview there and says of Mbappe, Kylian Mbappe is a good person. Brazil got that image of him, maybe not such a good image, but because, well, since Vinicius is in front, he says, but whenever we can, we're together off the field and things between friends. He's often with Camavinga, who's always been one of my best friends. I've also had a great relationship with Mbappe and often messaged him to join Madrid. We still haven't managed to play together like we wanted. That message is important. Nor have we won the titles that the fans want, but in the very near future, we will manage to turn this situation around. But yes, he was always a very good person and always defended me in interviews. In the match against Benfica, he's a great player. He comes from a World Cup. He scored 3 goals in a final. He's a legendary player who is going to define an era at Real Madrid and in football, and he's already doing it. Well, these are Vinicius' statements. And by the way, we should also add these about the contract renewal. I never imagined myself outside of Real Madrid, and I want to stay here my whole life. Real Madrid is calm, and so am I. The president trusts me, and I trust him. I think this should have been settled already. Maybe they're waiting for the World Cup because Vinicius might believe a great performance could improve his position. To ask for more, in parentheses, you'd have to tell him at Madrid you should have shown a bit more as well, even though he's had some really good moments, but he hasn't been like in previous years, and that's where things stand. But what's the difference between Vinicius' statements about Mbappe and Valverde's statements? Honestly, Valverde, I really don't want him to leave Madrid. Valverde is a great player. Man, those 3 goals against City and all that. But honestly, there's only one thing here that I'm absolutely against. They gave him the captain's armband after what he did. Sorry, but after what he's done, I'm not defending Tchouaméni here, but the captain is the one who has to do the most to calm things down there. Hey, well, they don't ask him about the Tchouaméni thing, and instead of calming things down and saying something, having a few words for the player, say no, now Aurelien and I are, and that would have diffused everything. But no, he goes and says this.
How do you feel about your football career, especially after your Champions League hat-trick against City and everything off the pitch? How does that affect you emotionally?
Me, I'm doing very well. I had the support of a lot of people, the affection of all the fans over there at Real Madrid, and also the love and support from the club. Like I said, well, sometimes you have to go through these little obstacles in football, in life, and you learn to grow, to mature as a person. And well, all of this is going to help me become a better captain in the coming years, God willing, and hopefully I can keep playing for Real Madrid.
Very well, but I think it's important to say a few words in support of your teammate, especially because the captain has to unite and clear up any doubts. A lot of people supported me as if it was like, hey man, you guys fought. A lot of people supported me because, well, maybe they understand you and might think it was a mistake. Or that the bad situation, the bad season for Real Madrid in that locker room, well, made everyone get heated and all that. Yeah, but anyway, I don't know. That's what I think. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that here a captain should make everything much clearer. Because the question this raises is that these two guys can't coexist in the locker room. Well, guys, call me weird, but anyway, that's how I see it. All right, let's talk about Riquelme because he has presented, like I told you, this was going to be something tangible. I had been told about this more or less, but I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't talk about it because why couldn't I talk about it? Because if they tell me and they say don't talk about it, well, I can't talk about it, but hey, it wasn't really a big deal, right? But it's true that in this case, what Riquelme is doing, like I said at the beginning, is that he's addressing the voters. He's addressing the voters. And there are people, for example, I've already seen some mockery out there like, and this is what he wants to do. And with this, he expects people to vote for him. Well, look, man, he still has to talk about the sports side, but this is something that matters to the club members and the supporters club members, and I think that's where he's going. I think it's a good campaign strategy. The one about addressing the voting membership. First, win over those they didn't have yet. Let's see if they've done it. If they do a poll today, let's see. But try to win those over and then make the big sports moves, which I think they will, right? Well, the thing is that the video, as you may have already seen, talks about a kind of club, a kind of social club, a place made to enjoy the club daily, to share it with an Alfredo Di Stefano stadium that would be expanded so the women's team could play there. And they also want to give a boost to the women's team so they can play some matches at the Bernabeu. And a large space with tennis and paddle courts. 6 basketball courts, 11 soccer fields, gym, swimming pool, auditorium for events, children's area, a Madridista hub where you can watch Real Madrid matches for up to 25,000 people. Spaces for fan clubs, a hotel, a basketball arena, which is the crown jewel of this complex, where there will also be concerts. I've already said it, and there we don't bother anyone. We don't bother anyone there, but Valdebebas is growing fast. Maybe they'll put the concert there and you'll still end up bothering people. Because there will also be people in Valdebebas. Look, I know the neighborhood well. There will be people who aren't Madrid fans. That was also one of the things Florentino maybe didn't realize at the time, right? He assumed no one would complain, but people did anyway. He says it's the biggest transformation, and there'll also be restaurants in that clubhouse he's planning to build, which is kind of the center of the whole space, where you can also watch matches. And like I said, there will be restaurants, and it's the biggest transformation by and for the members, which in the end is to benefit the feelings of the club owners, to say they count on me. Words from Riquelme. After 20 years, they haven't done anything for me. Beyond winning titles, of course. I think that's more important, of course. But it's like they haven't recognized me, right? That's what Riquelme says. And with this, members really do feel recognized because they have a physical place to go, because there are 100,000 members. I imagine you'll go there and get in with your membership card. Of course, then the Madridista card holders will complain. The Madridista card holders, right? Maybe, I don't know. Those who have the Madridista card in the Philippines or in Honduras, or let me tell you, in New Zealand, when they come here, hey, can I get into this? Maybe they have to pay a fee or extra charge. I don't know. I haven't discussed it. But it's a bit exclusive for members, even though there are many Real Madrid fans. This is for the members, and I don't really care. Well, I think it could cause that. But the thing is, whoever thinks that, for better or worse, I repeat, doesn't vote. The ones who would theoretically benefit from this are the ones who vote. And then how much would this whole thing cost? Because, of course, they're saying that this is a really powerful thing, but it's also something very utopian, that this is going to cost a fortune. He hasn't given any concrete figures, but he said that there are a lot of expenses in Real Madrid that are useless, a lot of spending, as he said, corporate expenses, that he would reduce and then use that money for this. Well, I think there are a number of points here that we're going to discuss. I don't know if he says it there, but there are definitely some very interesting things. And by the way, because of course, if he wants to allocate more money for this, for now, what he's doing is not exactly saving that money to use it for that. He'll take it from other things. And I say this because of the second of these initiatives in his presentation today, which is the one about reducing the membership fee by 50%. That's another of today's key messages until they win another Champions League. Careful. The membership fee, just so we're clear, we were paying about 170 something euros a year. Well, if you take 50% off, that's 85 euros, right? They take off 80 or 85 euros and we pay 80 or 85. Well, look, maybe not all the members will be convinced by this, But some might say, I want to save the 80 or 85 euros. That's per year. So what I understand this man wants to do here is keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. You know what I mean? I mean, among the members, among those who vote. Well, besides that, let's read everything. Guarantee that Real Madrid will always belong 100% to its members. Because of this issue, they're talking about privatization, which I think isn't exactly like that. But the word privatization is very powerful. And this politics has been like this since day one, since politics is politics. You send out a powerful message that even if it's only half true, no one can take away its impact, right? A public, transparent waiting list for new season tickets would help, since some members still don't have season tickets. How long do I have to wait? And there are members, he says, who have talked to him, both Madrid club members and supporters, who don't know how that works or when they'll be able to get their memberships. Luckily, I've had mine for many years. Okay? And of course, if you keep renewing it, you keep renewing it. It's not like 1 year they suddenly tell you, no, this year you can't renew it. Damn, you've been doing it for decades. But there are people who can't do it. And I understand that the member, well, the member who doesn't have one should ask, right? Opening of a lottery before a notary for 10,000 new season tickets among members. Special opening of membership spots for mothers and siblings of members. And more things over here. Here's the new plan for transferring season tickets to the club. Immediate recovery of 70% of the final sale price. I'll explain this to you. When you're not going to a match and you don't give your season ticket to your mother, your father, your brother, or whoever, or to your neighbor or a trusted friend. Well, you say, well, I'll give it to the club, right? And the club takes it and tells you, okay, I'll sell it. I'll sell your ticket for this match from your season ticket, right? Your seat. And then the club tells you, okay, 70% of this sale will go to you, we'll give it back to you. But how do they give it back to you? For next year's fee. So what they're asking is not to do that. They give you that instantly. A fair technological system for preferential tickets for non-subscribing members, grouping of family season tickets, and improving the experience at the stadium. Attention, the part about improving the experience at the stadium. I assume that's about the snacks and the bathrooms. He stopped repeating it after someone told him, same as Enrique Marquez. They said not to say it again because of the memes. Preferential attention to veteran members. Bring back the high-quality event for the 25th anniversary of the members. Honor the memory and legacy of the presidents and legends. Bring back the Santiago Bernabeu trophy. As a major yearly event, I think it stopped because there's no space left in the calendar. But well, a center for Real Madrid legends inside the Bernabeu Museum tour. Protection of the club's anthems and maintenance of both. Here is Riquelme's head of both anthems in the stadium. The Modicitas Madrileñas is no longer heard. The centenary anthem isn't either. Here it says both anthems. I understand it means Modicitas Madrileñas and the new one. The one from the 10th, right? Protection of institutional identity. No more bias manipulation like the Negreira case. About the Negreira case. He's only focusing on the fact that Madrid acted late. He even says that Barca might get off scot-free because Madrid acted late. What is he doing with this? He doesn't explore the topic in depth, which worries me. I hope he goes further. Maybe there's a debate or interview where he's questioned more about it. But what he does here is attack Florentino, his opponent. Council of Wise Men with the 100 oldest members as a tool for listening, institutional memory, and connection with the club's historical base. The Real Madrid Pact. The Real Madrid VIP box belongs to all the members. 20 invitations will be raffled for each match. Here he's looking for imaginative things to do. Hey, let's see what he's offering us. For me, this thing about 20 invitations by raffle for the VIP box members, I mean, I don't really care that much, but I understand because I think he mentioned it at some point. Well, as he was explaining each of these things, well, the member has their ticket and all that. There are few people who can enjoy the VIP boxes, people with more money and all that. It wouldn't be bad if a regular member got to the VIP box. Damn, the catering, whatever they've got, damn, that's nice. But anyway, I think he's just looking for things here. Yeah, just trying to scrape up some votes. Basically thinking about these elections or maybe the future ones, right? Option for member entry. Member +1 at all matches outside the Santiago Bernabeu. Option for a member to bring a +1 and a companion to all away matches. Real Madrid and basketball season ticket holders can now get a companion season ticket to boost attendance. Members get a free companion at Castilla matches. Box management will be more transparent. Fan club and member travel agency with concierge service. Reduced ticket prices for away trips. Making travel accessible to all. Expanding digital content, launching new platforms, and using audiovisual formats to boost international presence. Madrid has many social media followers, but we've always said and complained about its communication. Communication-wise, things are missing, things are lacking. I mean, besides, the power that Madrid has in communication on social media isn't being used. Many messages are only given through Real Madrid television. And you say, but come on, man, just post it on the account. We've always said this, whether we knew about Riquelme or not. Greater access to training sessions on special dates and for the youth academy. Launch of the member defender. And well, this is basically what he has defended, so it doesn't go on too long and doesn't overlap with the Florentino stuff. We'll get to that later. Let me say something. Many people have already covered this. I considered going live, but decided against it because if I'm here live, I can't attend the Florentino event. Besides, as I told you, I was busy with something else. But Chiringuito wasn't acting like Chiringuito. On Chiringuito's Twitch, which is always on top of everything. But they weren't on this. What do you think is the reason for that? Are you seeing what some media outlets are doing? El Chiringo and a few others. Their editorial line and their support. Which candidacy do they support? Clearly, okay, they can do it. I'm not saying they can't. They can do it. But watch out for this. We're also getting into it with Marca and other media outlets. You can clearly see which side they're on, supporting Riquelme. I'll tell you this, not in an exaggerated way. You can see they support him. It's clear, and we've said it. Marca supports Riquelme. They're against Florentino. We know that. What about the other one? We never discuss it. I mean, the traitors, the sellouts, whatever you call them. That's Tonin the bullfighter talking. Anyway, I brought this man here to tell a few club members and supporters about his projects, and they're killing Tonin the bullfighter. They're killing him. The guy is out there arguing with everyone on social media. I already said it. I stopped arguing a week ago after explaining my side. It's better to let go and not poison yourself. Do you see how it is? If I like it, great. Even if I know they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, especially a media outlet. But if I don't like it, I tear them apart. Sellouts, traitors. You're against God knows what. Anyway, wish you all the best. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. Please comment, share. Later we'll be with Florentino. Come on. Bye.